Hey, Ryan here. Hope you guys are doing great. So, I'm back with my chats with awesome musicians, and this time around we have Fred, the Riff Meister from the rather cool and awesome band Sons of Liberty. And yeah, we're going to be chatting about guitars and pedal boards and amps and all that cool stuff. So, we're going to crack on soon. So, before we do that, I would really appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button. It would really help the channel out. So enough of me rambling on. That's cool, man. Enough of me rambling on. I'm repeating rambling because I like to say that word, rambling on. Anyhow, so before we dive right in, man, Fred, thanks a lot for agreeing to do this chat with me. Really appreciate it, and I
Oh,
do say
it's
appreciate
an
it
honor.
quite a lot. Cool, man.
Yeah, no,
So
it's an honor, Ryan.
before we
Thank you very
dive
much
right
for having
into
me.
the cool stuff, in your own words, man, who is Fred the Riff Meister?
Oh, who is Fred the Riff Meister? Well, yeah, most people will know me as the stage right. Was it stage left? I don't know. I get around the wrong way. On one side of the stage with Sons of
You're
Liberty.
left, man, from the audience
I'm stage
view.
left. Exit stage left. Yeah. So yeah, usually I'm stage left, and I'll be there lurking with some sort of Gibson-esque type guitar most of the time, making lots of noise. So yeah, that's what I do, and yeah, love it every second of it.
Cool, man. Awesome. So how did you get into guitars, and why guitars? Or did you always play the guitar right when you started as being a musician?
Yeah, I started quite late. It was just some friends at school. One of them was getting a drum kit, and one was getting a bass. And they said, if you get a guitar, we'll start a band. So it was that. And before then, I'd never really, didn't plinked around in school music lessons and thought, no, that seems like hard work. So no, I'd never learned anything. So I was probably about 15, I think, when I started, which is really late for these days. And yeah, it was a long, slow, painful process for me. There was no computers, let alone YouTube and videos.
Yeah.
So it was put the needle on the vinyl. It was vinyl as well, and you couldn't work out anything,
Yeah.
So yeah, it was those first few years were really slow progress.
Yeah.
So
So what would you
but
say your
I was
first on early inspirations were? Like, what made you pick up that guitar and say, wow, this is what I'm going to do?
it was bands like Thin Lizzy.
Cool.
Yeah, they were on top of the pops back then. UFO, Scorpions, Deep Purple. It was started still when it was the old school classic rock. We're still, bringing out singles. White Snake, all those kind of classic rock bands from back then. Pink Floyd, big Gilmore fan.
Yeah.
So it was just as soon as you saw them rocking out, on top of the pops. Yeah, that's what I want to do.
So can you remember your first ever riff that you learned? Is that digging right back in?
Yeah, it's quite embarrassing. I had one of these books, an instructional book, when I bought my first guitar, which was a terrible thing. It was like, I think they were made in Korea, and they were like the Woolworths guitars.
Yeah.
And they're virtually unplayable. Had flat wound strings on it.
Yeah.
And this book, and I think the first couple of things in there was Skip to My Lou, which I think was A minor and D or something. Or E. And after that it was kind of just 12-bar blues stuff. So it was the open position chords, slogging through those to start with, and House of the Rising Sun.
Yeah, cool stuff,
quite early
man.
on.
Yeah,
it was
cool
that,
stuff.
yeah, that kind of stuff.
So would you say you're self-taught, man? Would you say you're self-taught?
Yeah, you can tell, can't you?
Not really, not from that freaking cool intro, man. That intro is like, your fingers are like so, it's like it knows where to go. If you mind getting it right. The riffs, it's
That's
just
feels, years of getting it wrong.
Yeah, of course. Freaking, I shouldn't say awesome. Not again. Anyhow, you're just being
Yeah,
too
cheers, man.
polite, man. That intro is so cool. I think it's cool. I'm guessing that is from Ruby Star. You know, that solo
Yeah,
bit
yeah,
that is from the new single that's been out there. Such a cool
yeah. It was the
track.
second
Yeah,
single off Aces and
yeah,
Eights, and yeah, it's just got you know, yeah, it's great fun. You
yeah.
know,
So, have
it's
you always been
it's
a Gibson user, or have you early back in the days? What could you remember your first guitar?
yeah. Well, the first one was this say Woolworths copy type thing, Woolworths kind of guitar, which was a Strat type, but
Yeah,
it wasn't anything like a Strat. And then I got a Columbus Les Paul copy, which wasn't a lot better, to be honest. It was a
yeah,
really, really cheaply made, looked like a Les Paul, but that was
yeah.
where the similarity stopped. It even had single coils under the covers when you took the humbucker
Yeah.
covers off.
Man, that is cool.
And that I love the look of them. I think it was, yeah, it was a kind of Thin Lizzy
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Jimmy Page,
yeah,
was playing Les Pauls then, and yeah, kind of gravitated that way. But then yeah, during the 80s, it was all Super Strats. So
yeah.
I had a couple of Washburtons before that, and then got Fernandez, Japanese,
Oh, yeah, cool.
like Adrian Vandenberg type. It's basically a Japanese Jackson, and I used that all the time, for the
Yeah,
Floyd Rose on it, and or their version of a Floyd Rose, and that was a great guitar with active pickup. So I've done the kind of like the thing you got behind you on the wall.
yeah, those
It's
things.
basically earlier version of the
Cool.
Steve Vai, the Gem
Yeah,
type thing. So yeah, I played one of those for years, and then
yeah,
sort of. Well, actually, I left an employment and had a little bit of a payout when I left years ago, and
yeah.
that's when I bought my first Les Paul.
Cool.
And and kind of Gibson kind of guy, really,
Yeah.
humbuckers and.
So you still use your Gibsons, right? And there's no looking back. You're not thinking of, changing, or you're not even thinking like, okay, this is it? If you're a Gibson guy, sticking to Gibsons stock, or
Yeah, I mean, it kind of.
yeah,
I do. I mean, I've got. If you saw the Ruby Star video,
yeah, which is super cool, which is
you'll have
awesome.
seen this.
Oh
Which
yeah,
is a
yeah,
beautiful
yeah,
custom shot 63, I think. And this is a awesome guitar.
yeah,
So I'm really enjoying playing this quite a lot. But it's it's obviously just got the single coils in it.
yeah.
And I haven't had the bottle to play it live yet. I've taken it as a spare
Yeah.
guitar a couple of times.
Yeah. Do you track
But
with?
it does sound great.
Do you track with that guitar? Do you track?
No, we didn't. But I mean, partly the reason I bought this, and I'll do some name dropping. We recorded the album in Momentum, which is Josiah J. Manning's studio, and
Cool.
he's the keyboard player with Chris Barris, and Chris had left his custom shot telly in the studio, and I picked that up as soon as we got in there. I picked it up. I always liked tellies.
Yeah.
And thought, this is nothing like any of the the Mexican type things that I've got. And we did play around with that. I think Moose actually used it on one of the tracks, or I just picked it up all the time in between.
Yeah.
But he used that, and I used a Strat in the studio Strat. So we used quite a lot of different guitars in the studio. So I've got some different these kind of things. Just like all guitars.
Yeah.
But if it was one guitar, it would be the faithful Les Paul. So this is number one.
Yeah. Cool, man.
And it's a, what was it? I think it's a 1999, 1998.
Yeah. Cool.
My contact lenses. Les Paul standard, just a standard.
Yeah. Do you do any mods on your guitars at all? Is it all stock?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I mean, this one came. This is the partly responsible for it. This came with bare knuckles already in it. I got this in a trade for an amp.
All
Actually.
right, awesome.
And it already had the bare knuckle. These are crawlers.
Yeah,
Whitehorn
yeah,
pickups, and yeah, quite hot. The bridge is quite hot. Yeah, and I got this guitar and thought those are great, great sounding pickups.
yeah.
So yeah, I do. When I put them in, got bare knuckles in most of my humbucker guitars.
Yeah.
All the ones I use.
Until you take the lid off and you see it's a single coil.
Yeah, no, these are definitely not. No, they're definitely not. Yeah, they're great pickups, you know. And I haven't tried lots of the different ones. I got some of their boot camp ones. They do a stock kind of.
Yeah, those are good.
Slightly more affordable, but I mean, it does sound very similar to this. I don't think there's a lot of difference. I think it's the same magnets. And this is this.
Yeah, so apart from the pickups, that you just change the pickups and that's it, right?
That's it. The rest of it is entirely stock. Obviously no pick guard on there, but apart from that, it's awesome, all the Grover tuners.
Cool. And what's driving that guitar, man? What amps do you use?
Using Victory amps, and started off with eventually found Cornford, and was lugging around a big 100-watt Richie Kotzen signature Cornford. And just with the weight of the thing, it's a fantastic amp, and I'm a bit worried about kind of damaging it as well. So luckily, Martin Kidd, who's the same designer, bought this out, which is only a lunchbox head, but it's quite heavy. That's a 50-watt. It's the RK50.
Cool.
So it's the kind of Victory's version of the RK100s that we got. Dead simple amp. So I'm using those live. And I used them in the studio on on the previous album and the EP before that. But this time in the studio,
I can see one behind you, man. Yeah, I was just about to ask you about that.
Which is a little Sheriff. Which is a 22-watt.
Cool.
2 EL84s for the nerds amongst us. And this is number 2. It's the second one made.
Freaking awesome, man.
So it's the first one I think that went on sale. I think they've got number 1. So, and it's it looks like a Marshall, and it sounds like a better Marshall to me. And I used that for the whole of Aces and Eights.
I've heard a lot about the Victory amps, man. So many cool and good reviews out there. I need to get myself
and the Krakens are great as well.
Yeah, the Krakens,
for the sort of heavier stuff.
Yeah,
they
the
got a real
gain,
nice low end chunk.
But
it's not my. I'm a bit more low gain, really. And so I use those. I don't use any drive pedals. So it's just amp gain. And I use my pedal board. If you want to go through that, it's basically a wah, a wireless into a wah.
Is it is it a Crybaby that you're using for the wah?
It's the little cute, the little auto one, the new one.
All right,
I think
cool.
It's
the mini wah. I think it's like a short. Cool.
Yeah, it's the mini auto wah. And it's basically getting really geeky now. That's the wah I use in the studio. That's heavily modified, as you can see.
Oh yeah, cool, man.
I put a switch on it to make it auto on off.
Oh, that's awesome, man. So who did that for you? Do you do all the mods?
I did that,
Freaking cool,
No, I did
man.
that, I always done that way. And I got a switch to switch it between normal on off and that. And I put a light on it, and I've changed the inductor and changed some of the components. Give it. I
need to pick your brain later on about getting some tips about that for sure, man.
I mean, this sounds awesome, but again, it's a bit fragile to take. I used to take it out on the road. But that goes in the studio, and I just plug a little battery into it and use that in the studio.
Yeah. I got 3 or 4 walls lying around. I just never use it. It's just there. It's just been purchased and just left there for some strange reason. Wonder why.
Yeah.
So what else?
I mean, I use it too much, really.
Yeah. So what else do you, apart from, so what is like the main signal chain for you, man? Guitar, does it go straight into the wah first, or do you use a noise
wireless,
gate?
line 6 wireless.
Yeah, cool.
So I just use a line 6. Goes into the wah. Then that goes into a drop pedal, a Digitech drop pedal, and that's just, I use that with on Damaged Reputation. It's got kind of filtered effect on it, which we did in the studio with the wah and adding a filter, and that's, I use the wah and that drop pedal to try and get that live. That's all I use that for. But they're great pedals, so they really track well. Go into that, I go into a delay in front of the amp, which is a Tech 21 Tech 21 DLA boost, boost DLA. So it's got a boost and a tape type delay, analog delay in it. And I've got another one of those in the loop.
Cool.
So I've got 2 delays. So that's my Desert Island pedals. One of them. And a delay, and I'm good to go. Cool. And I've got a little reverb on the board as well in the loop, which is I just put on for solos. There's a reverb on the amp. And the rest of it's really just switching the amp. The amp's got a boost channel, which I use always on. And I turn it off to try and get a cleanish sound. I use an EQ pedal, which is a HBE Detox. It's a Paul Gilbert signature pedal. Awesome. Which is a drop. It's a kind of underdrive pedal. So it actually helps you get a cleaner sound out of a driven amp. Cool, so it's EQ'd for that. So what cabs are you using? What cabs are you using? I use it's actually a Cornford 2x12 cab now. But I've had it recovered, so it matches the Victory RK. So had it recovered in white Tolex and managed to get Victory to send me a badge for it. So it looks like a Victory, but cool. It's a Cornford. It's got vintage 30 speakers in it. The classic. So on the new album, man, is the Victory amp actually on that? Do you record with the Victory amp? Do you use, and do you use your pedal board as well when you're recording? Oh, awesome. Cool. So I use the pedal board as well. Cool. A couple of obviously there's some post effects that go on. I mean, there was on there that one. Some of the delays I've got the Josiah was there sort of turning the knobs as I was playing, I think those things are super cool, man. So the post effects and the final decision, is that you or the mix engineer that decides? I mean, it's not a lot on there. There's a little bit of I think there's compression coming from the preamps we use. I think a natural compression, but I don't think there's much added to the guitars. Obviously we didn't use the reverb, so there's a bit of reverb on from the post. And there's some added delays and some added gain. We recorded with very low gain. All right. Scarily low gain. It's horrible playing like that. So do you track with that low gain? So it must be quite difficult, man. Must be really difficult. I'm sweating now thinking about it. And I don't use master gain anyway. But, a lot more than we use in the studio. So, so obviously it's a great tip. You can add it, but you can't take it away, can't you? So, So is it like basically it's all being committed as you're tracking, and there's no DI, so you kind of reamp later on
Is
Yeah, I
there?
always take a DI.
Yeah,
I think that's just standard practice to
yeah,
DI as you go, and you've got that option.
yeah,
I think the intro Ruby Star might have been put back through something afterwards because it was a little bit weedy. It was just my guitar playing the first riff, and it was too clean. So I think we listened to that and said, can we beef that up a bit? So that might have gone back through a Kemper or something. But, but no, it's the guitar sounds were the Sheriff and
cool.
Moose's big RK100
Cool. Well, since you're known as the Riff Meister, can I say?
Well, I'm glad you changed the name.
We had, well, I don't want to say the other name, which I think was super cool anyhow. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it, man. Don't you worry.
No, let's not go there. No, it sounded like a good idea at the time until you thought what that might actually sound like.
Is it okay to say that you're the main guy who comes up with all these cool riffs and as a starting point for most of the tracks for Sons of Liberty?
Yeah, and the process tends to I tend to write all the time, just little ideas, and just hit them, record myself playing them on the phone so I can see what I was doing.
Yeah.
When they come out, then I'll share them with Rob, who's always writing his stories and his lyrics, and that tends to start the process. And then the ones that we kind of think have got something, we will share with the guys. And the ones everyone likes, then everyone now will start writing their parts, thinking about arrangements, and we do that together. So cool. And I do tend to start them off, but they can change quite substantially by the time we get to
you write together, so in rehearsal space, and get it all tight, and then you start recording. If I'm getting that right,
cool, we work them up in the room. And we record every session when we're writing. Go away and listen to them, and then you start to think about tempos, and Moose might come up with a cool sort of cool little link riff, or something great to put a solo over. Or Steve will come up with ideas for rhythms, and Mark will come up with his cool bass line. And all this time Rob's working up the melodies and tweaking the lyrics. So it's all hands on deck then when we get
Does any other guys in the band kind of contribute to some of the lyrics or anything like that? Does that ever happen?
Moose wrote most of the lyrics for Texas Hill Country. Because he'd been there, and it was his kind of story. And Rob's kind of did a bit of work on them afterwards. But generally Rob writes all the lyrics, but that's the one that I can think of. And Moose is quite good at coming up with kind of backing vocal ideas as well.
Cool.
So he'll suggest tweaks for that. But Rob's the storyteller. He's like the village elder, and we all gather around and around the fireplace.
I see what you mean, man. I can tell definitely after having a chat with him, after the gig, which is so true. Anyhow, can I say, man, if you are just say, Ruby Star, you're working on a solo, how long does it take for you to decide, or does it happen the spur of the moment, say, this is it, I'm not going to change anything, and I'm sticking to it?
It depends on, sometimes a couple of bits in that, the solo that played at the intro were there straight away. And then there'll be sections of it that I'll leave right until we get actually to into the studio to do it. So I do a mixture of composed parts, and I like to leave a few sections. I left quite a lot this time, actually. Kind of, I knew sort of what I was going to do, but I didn't nail it note for note. and because I like a bit of, I think you get a bit of spontaneity there
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
definitely.
And obviously, Josiah's a great guitar player as well. So
Yeah.
he was sort of coming up with ideas as well on some of them. If they're all done before you go in,
Yeah.
you don't get those little magical moments that
Yeah.
just happen on the spur. So it's a mixture. I mean, one of the I Come in Peace. There's a section near the start of the solo, which is this sort of ascending bit, and I'd written that before the song.
All right.
So I'd written a bit of solo. I'd just I thought that's really cool.
Yeah.
I'll do something with that.
Yeah.
And I recorded that, and when it came to put the solo together for that, I'm having that, so that was, it's unusual. But and then I probably 70%. I pretty much know what I'm going to do, and I've practiced, worked it up quite a lot. And about 30%, I'll leave for spur of the moment stuff.
So how many, having two guitarists in the band, how many layers do you guys do? Do you do like individual double tracking, or is it just one guitar on left and one guitar on right? And do you stick to that, or is there like 4 layers?
I guess most of them are kind of one guitar left, one guitar right, solo in the middle, but it depends on the song. So the big epic-y songs will trying to think, something like Black Blizzard off the album, that had probably about 5 or 6 different guitars on it. Very atmospheric. Some of them you can hardly hear, and there's a bit of, some acoustics, and some, I got made to tune into Dad Gag tuning for I Come in Peace, and I think I was playing this acoustic, and you can't, it's there, and you'd notice if it wasn't there. But it's mostly, what we end up doing live.
Cool.
But there's a few of them have got some extra little tracks, but we don't double track our own tracks.
All right. Okay.
We'll do something different. If we're layering it, it'll be something different.
Cool.
And even if some of the songs we went in the studio, and we kind of worked out that we were both playing the same riff, we rarely play them the same way, which is quite nice. So just instinctively, Andy and I are different kind of style players. So he'll, if he hasn't seen what I'm doing when I send we're old and blind anyway. It's hard to work out what each other's doing. So we kind of we'll pitch up, and he'll be doing it up here, and I'm doing it, or I'm doing it up. It's always a bit different. But even then, if it was, if we're just doing the same thing, we'll probably not do that. We'll go, hang on. There's always an opportunity to try and find a bit of harmony in there, or just a bit of thickness, or a bit of something, by just change maybe a different playing a different position.
Cool. So being such a cool session, sorry, I'm getting this wrong now. So being well into playing guitar for so many years, are there any tips and tricks you would like to share to the viewers, just coming up as a guitarist, or tracking, or guitar warm-up, what you should do every day, kind of to keep yourself in the loop, if I'm getting it right?
I'm probably not a very good example to young guitarists. We're pretty old school. I mean, warming up's great. We rarely get the chance to do it. We're usually a lot of festivals and things, and you're just rocking it in and out. And it's not like you see on on the big movies where you get this palatial dressing room with the amps everywhere. You're out in the van lugging stuff across in the rain, and you're on stage. But if you can warm up, it would be better. And I think, just in terms of playing, it's easy to say and it's really hard to do, but just try and find your own voice. And play what comes out of you. And I think it's I see a lot of players kind of treating it as a Olympic sport type thing, and it's art. It's not sport. It's not about being the fastest or the quickest there's no best in music.
Yeah.
You can, I can go and put stiff little fingers on, and they're whacking out chords, and it's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's music, and I think it's not competition.
Yeah.
So just try and play something which touches you, that that the stream. I think you have to try and find that stream of consciousness. And that's just time. I think I don't know. I'm not really, being self-taught.
Yeah.
I couldn't teach anyone to play the guitar. I don't know what I'm doing half the time. It's, for me, it's just years of doing it.
And knowing the instrument itself, isn't it? There's nothing better than that relationship that you have with your guitar, and just diving right in. Yeah, I totally get it, man.
Yeah,
totally get it.
And it's chasing tone as well. I think we all chase tone all the time.
Yeah. I've given up a long time ago.
I mean, you're saying the same in whatever you play through.
Yeah.
It's coming out of the fingers and your head. I think we've all spent years changing amps and cables and speakers and getting these, and it helps to have good stuff. Once you've got good stuff, move on. Spend more time writing songs and playing with people. Get out and play with people. Again, if you're a young musician or starting out, even an old musician starting out, you can't do better than playing with other people in a room, and you've got to do that.
Of course, man.
It's just so different, and it's so much fun. I mean, we rehearsed the night before last. We got a couple of gigs at the weekend, and we're having a blast. And we do it all the time, and we play all the time. You get in there and you're whacking it out, and we're going for it. We're rehearsed or leaping around. Brilliant. So cool. I think play with other people. Try and just focus on the songs and your voice. If you're not writing good songs, doesn't matter. No one's going to listen to them. Or very fleetingly. And try and find good people to do that with. We're really lucky that we're just like a bunch of mates. That we or a family. We do annoy each other sometimes, but we have a lot of fun. And if you didn't, and even the times when it can get really stressful. It's a hard thing. Particularly as you kind of climb up the slippery ladder a little bit. So you've got to do it with people that you're all on the same page, and you're all having fun, and do it for the moment. Yeah,
of course, man. Well, thanks a lot for sharing that, man. That we do really appreciate it. So I can't thank you enough for having this chat with me. And I do say appreciate it quite a lot, because I do appreciate it. In fact, so before we end this, man, is there a shout out you want to give to all your super cool fans, or, anyone in general?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fans that we have, I don't even call them fans, it's our friends.
Yeah,
and I think that's the way the scene is. Certainly the emerging rock bands, new wave of classic rock scene is, the bands get on well, but the people that come out, they're just like friends. So you go to a gig and all the bands are chatting to all of the people. They message on social media, and just incredible. So cool. That's I think it's was it Trapeze? You're the music, we're just a band, and so and that's they're the music. There's no band without them. Cool. And they're a good laugh as well.
Cool.
So everyone and people are we've got friends in the States and stuff that buy everything, and they're wonderful. It's just such a privilege, isn't it?
Yeah, cool. Once again, man, thanks a lot for having this chat with me, and I hope to catch you on the road soon. Take care, man.
We will. We'll see you there.